MotoGP 2027 is already hiding a major surprise that could reshape the competitive landscape from the very start of the new season. A KTM test rider has suddenly revealed Ducati's secret advantage that has gone unnoticed by many, and what they have seen from Ducati's development could put the Italian manufacturer in position to become the most feared team once again in the 850 cubic centimeters era. If Ducati has truly found a crucial advantage before its rivals, could this be a sign that they are already one step ahead of the entire MotoGP 2027 grid? Let's discuss. The MotoGP world is preparing for one of the biggest regulatory changes in decades. Starting in 2027, the Premier class will enter a new era with 850 cubic centimeter engines, more restrictive aerodynamics, a ban on ride height devices, lighter motorcycles, and a switch from Michelin to Pirelli tyres. Amid all these major changes, Ducati could actually be entering the new era with a significant advantage. That surprising claim comes from Pol Espargaro, KTM's test rider and a MotoGP analyst. What makes his comments particularly interesting is that Espargaro has not simply observed the developments from the outside. He has actually ridden the 850 cubic centimeters prototype being prepared for 2027. He also had the opportunity to compare the character of the new generation machine with the current 1,000 cubic centimeters MotoGP bikes within a very short period of time. Espargaro tested the 850 cubic centimeters prototype at Mugello alongside several other manufacturers. Just a few days later, he was back on the current generation KTM RC16 during the race weekend at Silverstone. That direct comparison gave him a clear picture of just how significant the changes will be for riders once the new regulations officially take effect. And based on his experience, the transformation is extreme. The 2027 regulations are about far more than simply reducing engine displacement. Engine capacity will drop from 1,000 cubic centimeters to 850 cubic centimeters, while the maximum bore diameter will be reduced from 81 millimeters to 75 millimeters. Fuel tank capacity will also decrease from 22 litres to 20 litres. The minimum motorcycle weight will be reduced from 157 kilograms to 153 kilograms. Meanwhile, the number of engines each rider can use during a season will be cut from 7 to 6. In terms of aerodynamics, MotoGP will introduce tighter restrictions. The goal is to reduce speed, limit the dominance of aerodynamic effects, and make it easier for riders to follow one another. However, two of the changes that could have the biggest impact are the ban on ride height devices and the switch to Pirelli tyres. Ride height devices have become one of the technologies closely associated with Ducati's development in recent years. Ducati was one of the pioneers of this technology in modern MotoGP and went on to develop various solutions designed to improve acceleration and traction when exiting corners. Starting in 2027, those devices will be banned. That means Ducati will have to abandon one of the technologies that helped it build an advantage during the 1,000 cubic centimeters era. But this is where a major paradox emerges. Even though Ducati will lose some of its technical weapons, the manufacturer is believed to have another advantage that could be much harder for its rivals to replicate. According to Espargaro, the characteristics of an 850 cubic centimeters prototype have certain similarities to a superbike. If that is indeed the case, Ducati could have extremely valuable experience because it has spent years developing high-performance production motorcycles through the World Superbike Championship. This becomes even more significant because MotoGP will also switch to Pirelli tyres in 2027. Pirelli is currently the official tyre supplier for World Superbike, including the Ducati Panigale 5 4R program. In other words, Ducati has spent years learning how to maximize the performance of its motorcycles on Pirelli tyres. Meanwhile, some of Ducati's rivals do not have anywhere near the same level of experience in World Superbike. The advantage is not just about the ability to set the fastest lap time. Experience with tyres is also extremely important for understanding degradation, tyre pressure, temperature, traction, and how tyre characteristics change throughout a race distance. And when MotoGP switches from Michelin to Pirelli, All of that information could become an extremely valuable asset. Ducati may not have to start from scratch. The strength of that argument becomes even more interesting when looking at Ducati's World Superbike performance this season, as highlighted in the material. Of the 24 races that have taken place, Ducati is said to have won every single one. Nicolo Bulega has been the main contributor with 23 victories, while the other win came from Alvaro Bautista. Even more remarkably, Ducati is said to have filled all 3 podium positions in 18 of those 24 races. This kind of dominance shows just how strong the relationship is between Ducati machinery, circuit characteristics, and Pirelli tyres in the Superbike competition. By contrast, Honda and Yamaha, which also have World Superbike programs, have not been able to demonstrate the same level of dominance. In that comparison, Yamaha has yet to score a podium, while Honda, reportedly, has not managed to finish higher than 10th. Of course, the success of a superbike does not automatically guarantee success in MotoGP. However, when MotoGP switches to Pirelli and the 850 cubic centimeters motorcycle concept has characteristics that differ from the current 1000 cubic centimeters generation, that experience could give Ducati a stronger starting point. Marc Marquez has also ridden the 850 cubic centimeters prototype and paid particular attention to the changes in tyre behaviour. According to the report discussed in the material, Marquez believes the most significant change will not come solely from the engine or chassis, but from the characteristics of the tyres. This is extremely important because current MotoGP riders have spent years developing their riding styles around the characteristics of Michelin tyres. When Pirelli arrives, braking points, throttle application, temperature management and tyre usage strategies could all change. Riders who have spent years developing a particular riding style may have to make major adjustments. And this is where Ducati once again has reason to feel confident. They are already accustomed to developing motorcycles around Pirelli tyres in World Superbike. Beyond the tyres, the ban on ride height devices could also change the way riders attack corners and accelerate out of them. Dani Pedrosa is one of the figures who has highlighted the importance of this change. Without ride height devices, the bike's acceleration characteristics could change, and some of the advantages that have been built around electronic and mechanical devices will have to be recreated through a new approach. This could make the racing much harder to predict. Ducati may lose one of the technologies that has played an important role in their success, but they also have extensive technical experience in developing different solutions. Therefore, Ducati's advantage will not automatically disappear simply because the regulations eliminate ride height devices. Major regulation changes always bring uncertainty. The dominant team may not immediately remain on top, while riders and even rookies could suddenly become threats if the characteristics of the new bikes suit their riding styles better. That is why 2027 has the potential to become one of the most fascinating seasons in modern MotoGP history. Ducati may lose some of the technologies that helped them dominate the 1000 cubic centimeters era, but they have experience with Pirelli, World Superbike, Superbike-like motorcycle characteristics, and a massive development database. Pol Espargaro has strong reasons to view Ducati as one of the strongest candidates because he has personally experienced how difficult it can be to adapt to the different characteristics of 850 cubic centimeters and 1000 cubic centimeters motorcycles. But one major question remains unanswered. Is Ducati's experience really enough to make them dominate MotoGP right from the start of 2027? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.